Senator Kim.
Actually, I just want to build off of what my colleague just talked about here. Mr. Cochran, I mean, you laid out all the different challenges that you've been facing here. What would you think would be the impact of actions like the Faster Labor Contracts Act or the PRO Act to what it is that you're trying to get done?
Well, it's obvious that I wouldn't be sitting here today with the testimony I've given a year and a half and not a contract. So it also put like timetables. The company would have to meet certain criteria to move forward, or somebody would help step in and make sure it's done correctly.
To be able to add some structure, not trying to dictate the outcome of the contract, but to try to make sure that it's keeping up.
Hold people accountable basically on both sides, so.
Yeah. Ms. Abruzzo, I wanted to just touch base with you. We had heard earlier from Ms. Gressler that her understanding is that workers are doing well, if not better, in right-to-work states. I mean, you saw my colleague talk about sort of broader questions about income inequality nationwide, but I'd be interested in just hearing your understanding of just sort of state by state, whether or not you agree that with Ms. Gressler's conclusion.
I don't agree, and it's been reported repeatedly that when you have union representation that can actually negotiate at the table for improved wages and benefits, that represented workers on average in the same industry, same classifications, make at least 13% more than non-unionized workers in the same industry and same classification. So it's hugely important that workers have a voice at the table and have good negotiators at the table that can bargain on their behalf. And I would say for every, there are high road employers out there that do collectively bargain with unions as their workers' representatives, but they're far and few between, and there's no incentive under the current NLRA actually to bargain in good faith because you're actually at a competitive disadvantage when compared to many, many employers and corporations that refuse to bargain in good faith and abuse the NLRB's processes.
Yeah, thanks for that detail. I think one thing that stood out to me when I was looking into some of the data here is that it's not just about the union workers, is that some of these states that have the highest union density, it's about lifting the bar for everybody in that state. So for instance, about 70% of states with the highest union density, they've enacted paid sick leave legislation, compared with just about 11.8% of low union density states. Does that resonate? Is that just a coincidence, or do you think there's a correlation, a connection there?
No, absolutely not. It's why it's not a coincidence. It's why I say we need to be thinking more boldly, and we need to be thinking about sectoral bargaining and models like that. There are states that actually have promoted and put together wage boards or industry standards boards because they want to have the same wages and standards in a particular sector or industry in order to take wages and compensation off the table so that your companies are no longer competing over wages and compensation. And what they should be competing about is the quality of the products and services that they provide, not the wages and compensation of their workers.
Ms. Abruzzo, I'd like to just stay with you for a second here. Mr. Kaplan raised this question about the backlog at the NLRB and said that when it was under Republican leadership, that backlog went down, that it's not necessarily about needing more resources. But when I look at this, I mean, there are different ways to bring down a backlog, right? You know, you can take some steps to be able to, try to adjudicate and try to work through the cases and put in that effort. But there are also ways in which you can dramatically reduce some of that backlog through dismissing cases or saying that they don't have merit. I guess I wanted to just get a sense from you, from what you saw from your time there, and how different ways have, how Republicans and Democrats have handled trying to address the backlog.
Right, and so what the former chair correctly noted was there is a complete divide between the board side, which is around 100 folks or so, and the general counsel side, which is over 1,000 folks. And the general counsel side, of which I led, investigates and litigates cases. And without proper funding and proper resources and proper staff, you can't do the investigations and litigation that needs to get done. And so it is critical, but again, as I said before, it's not enough. And frankly, the NLRA, there's delays inherent in the process because board orders, even if the chair were to institute a speedy round of getting board decisions done, board orders are not self-enforcing. So employers then can go into court and drag the time out in court before any sort of order actually comes down.